Hello everyone. This is South Carolina, Crime and History. Today we're diving into the case of a man so vile, one would be assaulted and four brutally murdered in a crime spree that lasted 3 years. Andrew Lavern Smith, born in 1960 in Anderson, South Carolina, to Ruth and Willie Smith, lived a life that veered tragically from potential to violence. Little is known about his early childhood, but records show he was raised in a religious household, attending the Fairview African American Methodist Church. He graduated from Pendleton High School in 1978 and pursued vocational education at Tri-County Technical College, earning a certification in auto body repair. However, the promising path he appeared to be on would soon descend into a series of brutal and unforgivable crimes. Smith's suspected criminal history began on February 24, 1980, when he allegedly abducted and sexually assaulted a female convenience store worker. After the attack, he threw her off an overpass on Interstate 85. Miraculously, the woman survived, but the brutality of the crime marked the beginning of Smith's descent into violent criminality. His crimes were escalated the following year. On July 28, 1981, 22-year-old David Evan Craig, a gas station cashier in Anderson, was found shot behind the counter by a customer, Henry Poor. Craig was alive but gravely injured and died shortly afterward at the hospital without being able to identify his attacker. The investigation initially yielded few leads. On June 5, 1982, Nirad J. Patel, also 22, was found stabbed to death at the Southerner Hotel in Anderson. Less than a year later, on May 28, 1983, the town of Pendleton was rocked by a horrifying double homicide. Christy Johnson and his wife, Corey, were found in their home, brutally stabbed to death. Christy with 26 wounds and Corey with 18. The weapon, a kitchen knife, had been taken from their own home. Their vehicle was also stolen but later found abandoned nearby. Just days later, on June 1, 1983, Smith was arrested while working at a local restaurant in Anderson. Police had linked him to the murder of David Craig after matching bullets from the crime scene to a .22 caliber revolver Smith owned, which had previously been noted in a 1981 gun law violation. Investigators also discovered that Smith had lived near the Johnsons around the time of their murders. During interrogation, Smith confessed to the murders of both Craig and the Johnsons. He chillingly explained that he killed the elderly couple after they refused to lend him their car. It was also determined that the Johnsons were his landlords. On June 3rd, Smith was charged with the murder of Nirad Patel. Though initially cooperative, Smith later recanted his confession, claiming it had been fabricated by law enforcement. Nevertheless, prosecutors moved forward with trying him for the Johnson murders first. In 1984, Andrew Smith was convicted and sentenced to death for the murders of Christy and Corey Johnson. The prosecution, confident in the overwhelming evidence against him, opted not to pursue separate trials for the murders of Craig and Patel. Similarly, the 1980 sexual assault case was closed after the surviving victim positively identified Smith as her attacker. Smith attempted to appeal his sentence to the United States Supreme Court in 1986, arguing for a second trial, but the court declined his request without giving a reason. A year later, however, the South Carolina Supreme Court granted him a retrial. Still, the outcome remained the same. Smith was once again convicted and sentenced to death. On December 18, 1998, after 15 years on death row, Andrew Lavern Smith was executed by lethal injection at the Broad River Correctional Institution in Columbia, South Carolina. His final words, spoken with chilling brevity, were "Let's do it." His execution marked a grim milestone. He became the 500th person put to death in the United States since the reinstatement of capital punishment following the 1976 Gregg v. Georgia decision.